Welcome to Own the Season podcast. We will talk to industry insiders along with outdoor enthusiasts to help you own your season. Now let's join hosts Art and Michelle Helen with Brad Jones. Own the Season podcast is sponsored by Griffin Armament, the oldest privately owned silencer manufacturer in the United States. Go to griffinarmament.com to learn how you can get a silencer shipped to your door. Griffin Armament. Engineered silence.
Hello and welcome to Own the Season podcast. I'm Michelle Helen along with Art Helen, Brad Jones, and today our special guest is Tylor Flynn. Hi, Tylor.
Hello.
Hi. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Tylor is our regional director for the National Wild Turkey Federation here for this part of Wisconsin. Have you been doing any turkey hunting?
I have.
This year yet?
Yep, I got out first season.
Nice.
Got one off of public land. It was an amazing morning after I had to go back home and put my turkey choke tube in because I had my skeet tube in as I got out of the vehicle and went, well, that's probably not going to work well. So got in late,
Okay.
but yeah, still called one about hour and a half later. He came in really slow and kind of a stubborn guy, but yeah, it was a great morning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Is that over in Dane County?
Yep.
Nice. I for a couple of years I was doing seminars and especially over in the Milwaukee area about getting started hunting or getting started trapping.
Yeah.
And I did, point out all the public land
Yes.
available in Wisconsin and showed some maps and things like that. I think there's more than people realize.
There is a pile of it, and you can find pockets where there's not a million trucks parked there every morning.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely tight.
Awesome. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah, he, if you would have got him close enough, that skeet choke would have worked.
Probably, yeah. I'm not that confident in my abilities.
But
You got her done.
then again, you got to look at it because today with all the technology and all the ammo and shot shells out there, it depends on what choke you have because it may not take TSS or it might not take certain steels or whatever, and then the next thing you know is you're blowing your gun up instead of
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter how good of a caller you are.
Correct. Yep.
So I've seen it happen before, but it catches that and blows that choke tube right out the end and cracks you under the gun, and it's not good. But
I don't need to ever see that. That'll work for me not.
yeah, so make sure you change that choke tube. But
Yes, sir.
we just had our banquet here.
Yeah.
A week ago now?
Just a touch over a week. Yes, sir.
And it went pretty well. It we're a little nervous there for a little bit because numbers unfortunately have been down a little bit.
Yeah.
For banquets, which is very frustrating to me. And I spoke a little bit at the banquet, and I've got some feedback from it. Some feedback's good, some feedback wasn't so good from because of what I had to say. And my wife Michelle was out in Salt Lake City.
I was not present, so I'm curious.
She was not present, so
I think you did fine.
so I got to cut loose a little bit. And one of my frustrations, and I do understand, and this was the feedback, is one of my frustrations that I told people is you're at this banquet, you're here, and I've heard a lot about the guns that we have at the banquet. Well, you need more guns. You need better guns. You need this. You need that. And so I kind of, it's frustrating to me to hear that because you're missing what the NWTF, what Whitetails, what Ducks Unlimited, all these organizations are truly doing for you. And that's what I basically told everybody. I said, you're missing the boat, guys. Mm-hmm. If you're worried about the guns, and they called me later and they said, well, Art, it is about the guns. I said, then you're missing the point. I mean, I still want you at the banquet, but you don't understand that the money isn't about the guns. Mm-hmm. The money is for conservation. It's for all the different things that the NWTF does, not only for Wisconsin, but nationwide, to give you the opportunity to go out and hunt. And as the organizations and the numbers of people keep getting smaller and smaller, as I spoke at the Wisconsin Bow Hunters this year, and that organization keeps getting smaller. And it's frustrating because then those same people that bitch and moan that we lost this right to hunt, or we lost, or the seasons, or this and that, they're not the ones supporting it anyway.
Correct.
They're the ones sitting at their keyboard pissing and moaning and bitching about this stuff, and not joining the organizations that have a voice to get out there and fight for us and do the things that we do. And that was basically my speech, and told them, you know, literally, if that's what you're here for, you really don't have a right to sit here and bitch when we lose our hunting rights. You know, so do something about it. Spend a little extra money. And I think some people, I hate to say it, but it might have got through to, because some of those guys spent a boatload of money on stupid,
one of the better live
things.
auctions I've had this spring, actually, at a banquet. Awesome. So you might have lit a fire, yeah.
And yes, it is about guns. It is about...
It's a balance.
It is.
It is always
about
a balance
being there.
with this. Yep.
But people just have to understand that they really truly need to understand that if we spend that much money on guns, then you have to spend that much more money.
Your raffle chances are going to get much more expensive if you really want really nice guns in here. Yep.
Exactly. Because
so it's always a balance.
We have to make money.
Or you go down to 1 or 2 guns versus, you know,
right,
10 or 15.
Yeah.
And then they yell about that.
Well, and you know, obviously then I wasn't there to hear this speech of yours, but
I almost cried.
I think
it was
so moving.
It was so good. Yes.
I'm sure. But from an banquet organizing standpoint, it's really hard to plan for the what you're going to have out there for raffle prizes and auction items when your pre-event sales are very low.
Correct. Yeah, walk-ins.
So that's where it really gets hard. And so if you want to, you know, help have a good, you know, exciting amount, you know, products there and a number of products there to bid on and to buy tickets on, then you got to get your tickets in early so people know you're coming.
Yeah, we need to know that you're going to show up.
Because that was, I was, you know, it was a good surprise for me to hear how many people were at the banquet, because I was asking, you know, talking to Art a little bit that evening. But, you know, what we had show up was like 3 times more than what the pre-event sales were.
Correct. Yeah, we were in the upper 20s about 4 days, 3 or 4 days out from the banquet, and ended up around 80.
Yeah, so you can't...
It makes it very difficult.
You can't plan food or prizes.
Yep.
So you can't really complain if you show up. It's kind of like the, I don't know that anybody's actually done it, but on like wedding invite RSVPs, like, you know, if you don't, you know, RSVP by this date, or bring a lawn chair and a sack lunch. Yeah. Because you can't, you know, it's expensive.
Yes.
You know.
I always joke with committees like, you know, one of these years we are not going to let a walk-in come in. I don't, you know, even if you only have 30 or 40 people, we'll just turn everybody away that thinks that they're going to walk in tonight, just so that we can set the precedent that, no, if you plan on coming to the banquet, just let us know.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it so much better for everybody if we know that you're going to attend. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had to have our food numbers in ahead of time, and thankfully we almost got there because, you know,
because we're paying for it regardless.
Yeah, they pay for it regardless.
We actually did a study. I think this was about 7 or 8 years ago. They tracked all of the meals that didn't get eaten at banquets across the country for one banquet season, and it was like $340,000 in food that just got thrown away because our committees tend to try to over-order to anticipate these walk-ins. So yeah, that's $340,000 that did not go towards mission delivery, just in the anticipation of walk-ins. So yes, when we know you're coming, it makes the whole experience of going to a banquet so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
Why don't you, since you hit it out there, why don't you talk a little bit about the NWTF mission and from a broad stroke of where the money goes?
Okay, well, the mission of the National Wild Turkey Federation is the conservation of the wild turkey and the preservation of our hunting heritage, and definitely something I'm extremely proud of. We do conservation work across the country. A lot of what we do is habitat improvement, is a giant bucket of what we're trying to accomplish, and then trying to get new hunters and old hunters back into hunting, just new ones in general, to hopefully ensure that we have a hunting heritage moving forward. So that broad stroking it, what the NWTF does.
Yeah. One thing we hear from time to time, and we understand it because we've been in the chapter for so long and kind of understand how the processes work. But there's a lot of people around here, there's a lot of other banquets that are not, from a national or state conservation group, but kind of more localized groups. And they're always like, oh, your money stays here. Your money stays here. We're not like, and that's like what they tote, on and on. But we can get our money back here as well, and then some.
Yes.
And can you talk about that process?
Absolutely. So every chapter that has a banquet puts money into a state-level super fund account. This last year, that was a little over $100,000 that went into the state level. And that is, I think, one of the coolest things that we have is we have the ability to take that money, and our biologist will take and pair that with projects across the state, other private dollars and public dollars, federal dollars, and to turn that into money to deliver conservation work across the state, as well as land acquisitions. And so we've done a bunch of projects and land acquisitions across the state with that money. This last year, they were actually able to turn that into about $6.3 million of mission delivery just in the state of Wisconsin. So that's kind of the state level. Then we have what are called our super fund automatics. And so that comes out of that same pot of money, but any chapter that has a banquet can get money back into their local economy for certain events that they have outside of their banquet. So that's the Learn to Hunt. That is, WEDO events, Women in the Outdoors, Jake's, Wheelin', scholarship. You guys actually gave a $300 scholarship this year to a local young lady. And so there's about $3,000 that a banquet can get back, a chapter can get back just for having a banquet if they are having these extra activities.
Sounds like a great... Art's pushing buttons here in case you guys have wondering what in the heck is going on today. He's trying to be control the sound, and he's overachieving on silencing us, and they're not on.
Because you plugged them into different ports that I usually
have. It's my fault because I set up the equipment. Nice. Well, that sounds like there's a lot of opportunity to keep that money local or get it local.
Yeah. And then just the local companies that we're supporting by having a banquet. I mean, the Dodger Bowl in Dodgeville here, that was 80 people that attended their facility that wouldn't necessarily be there. Local FFLs usually benefit pretty big from us. I have some FFL bills, gun shop, bills that can be around $20,000 just in firearms. So there's definitely all kinds of ways that we support the local economy on top of the Superfund dollars that can come back to an area. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we have submitted Superfund, projects over the many years that we've been involved. We've done equipment purchases. We've done some habitat improvement. Partnered with areas to do some habitat improvement. So we have gotten a lot of money back over the years, in addition to those automatics, that you speak of.
And the Learn to Hunt program that you guys put on is just something else. I mean, super nice that you do that.
Yeah, I mean, we've done the Learn to Hunt. We started that a few years, after I had started the chapter years ago, and it grew, and it was actually a very big one of the bigger in the state. And then we ended up with COVID, and the DNR shut us down. And when the DNR shut us down, things kind of, I don't want to say fell apart, but there were some new rules, regulations by the DNR throughout that. And they finally reopened it 3 years ago. Unfortunately, 3 years ago, we didn't find out until way too late that they were going to open it, and we didn't have enough mentors and hunters. So we were back. This year was year number 2, running Learn to Hunt again. So yeah,
9 this year.
Yeah, we were back up to 9 hunters. I think back in the heyday we were running like 30 to 35 hunters, and again, hunters.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Because
that is definitely incredible.
I tell you what, when you think about it, and people say, well, yeah, it's 35 hunters. However, what we would do with very young, we have an age limit. They've still got to be 10, because legality reasons, other things, but 10. And if it was a 10-year-old girl and one of her parents couldn't go, we would then have 2 mentors go together for the
almost any age girl,
yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah, almost any age girl. The
say.
he said, she said thing, and to protect both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would have that. We would have the landowners. We would have so when we got back to the cookout, to be able to run these things and all the people that helped organize and donations, we would feed anywhere from 90 to 120 people.
Oh, wow.
At those, get-togethers for Learn to Hunt. And they were just great. I mean, they were awesome, and they still are. And I hope to see it grow again. But, that's one of the things, like Brad said, it's one of the bigger things that we've kind of taken under our wing and run with it. Some of the other things, when I ran it, I turned it over to Rob Busser, our chapter, a couple years ago, and I still help him out as vice president and do some things. But, some of the other things that we did, and Rob is really striving for those and trying to get back into these, is, we had 4-H shooting sports. We had learned, this is where, this automatic money went to. Yeah. That we helped with, and that was, again, 4-H shooting sports, Learn to Hunt program. We had a Woman in the Outdoors program, a Wheeling Sportsman, Landowner Appreciation Day, the scholarship.
NASP, did you guys ever do a NASP program around here?
We did not here. Okay. They did not have them.
I might have, no, but I think I might have, like, not us doing it, but there was, there are a couple schools that were doing it, and so I think I submitted for like some monies for equipment support. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe they do hunters education.
Let's say yes, two a year actually per chapter can get $250 for supporting local hunters education programs.
And one of our new committee members is actually one of the only hunter safety instructors around here anymore. Yeah. So I'll have to make him aware of that. But, so yeah, I mean, there's so many things. There's seed programs. There's, all this stuff that stays local that people, so when I get frustrated and they're like, oh, but they're a national chapter, we don't see the money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. You have to ask us and say, correct, hey, can we do this? Because there's a lot of times we don't know, some of these things that are out there. Mm-hmm. And when you ask us as a committee or the chapter and say, hey, does NWTF support this? More than likely we do. If we don't, we'll tell you. But if we do, hey, we're going to submit stuff to the Superfund and get some money. If you have projects, I know there's a big prairie project that we donated a ton of money to every year around the Barnable area. Yeah. So there's so much money that stayed local. Back in the day, we used to have a NWTF tractor here.
I was going to say there was a tractor and a planter, didn't you?
Yep, we had a tractor, a planter, a mower. We had all that we rented out for years. And then, unfortunately, some of them that were doing all the record keeping to keep on, where the tractor was and this and that. And they unfortunately weren't with us anymore. They had to move on to different things, and so that just kind of another thing on my plate that I couldn't handle at the time. And so it just kind of fell apart and we ended up selling everything.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so there's all kinds of projects out there. You just need to ask.
Correct. And our biology. Go ahead.
And even if, people need to realize that some of the money that goes to, the federal end or whatever you want to call it, that benefits us with research. They can do bigger projects, and that can help us here locally as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, a huge part of what we're doing right now is sticking millions of dollars into turkey research across the country. And that's our endowed professorship program that is relatively new to the NWTF. Our first one was actually Dr. Mike Chamberlain down there in Georgia. Love his Turkey Tuesday facts. But that guy, man, what a wealth of information when it comes to turkeys. So he's actually he was the first endowed professorship through the NWTF. We have one that's coming up in Mississippi that we just hired this winter. New York is getting one. And then actually this upper Midwest, they are currently searching for an endowed professor, which they're 90 to 95% of the work that they will be doing from here until that position, it's an endowed one. So eternity, technically, is going to be turkey research, turkey habitat, turkey everything will be turkey-centric research so that we actually have really good data to make these management decisions with. And that's, something we're very excited about.
Cool.
And I hope that they change the structure of our season.
We'll have to see if that comes out of it. I'm with you. I mean, for the most part, I'm kind of worried too. There are some regions of the country where they've seen their turkey numbers fall.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I sure don't want Wisconsin to be like where they figure it out too late with, people shooting, upwards of a dozen and dozens of turkeys each year.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden, we don't be like, uh-oh, and that we can catch it before it gets to a point where it's really problematic.
Yeah, and I know like Missouri was one that they're struggling. Arkansas, and I know Missouri's big thing that they had was there's that certain time frame where if a poult gets wet, if it's like a cold rain, that is just some of the worst things that could happen to them. And they had like 2 or 3 years in a row where it was a cold rain right in the worst time frame of when that could happen, and that really, really knocked them back. And I don't think their regulations really adjusted to that either, where you were still able to shoot a couple birds. So,
yeah, and then they got the nasal bug on top of it, and and you look at Nebraska now. Nebraska, parts of Kansas, it's draw, so not all of it. Kansas is draw, and that used to be 3-bird limit, and part of it, and I'm fortunate because of what I do. I know Michael Chamberlain. I've talked to Michael Chamberlain. I've had him on the podcast. If you guys want to listen to a great podcast about some of the reasons for turkeys declining and stuff, go back through our library and listen to Michael. Because he taught me a lot of things about why and why seasons are backing up farther and what birds you should really shoot and what you shouldn't shoot and all this stuff, That
was very eye-opening for me, actually. That was the first time I've ever heard that. I'm like, oh, wow, it makes so much sense.
And I think what you're referring to is the idea of if more than one tom comes in, to not shoot the strutting one.
Which has definitely been always my ink. I'm
if there's only
shoot
one,
that big one.
Right.
If there's only one strutter, if all of them are strutting, that's different. Then we're good. But if there's only one strutter and 3 of them aren't strutting, shoot one of the non-strutters.
Yes.
And man, that's tough to do, especially running a TV show.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to put it to practice yet, but it'll be interesting to see how that kind of goes the next time I have a couple birds come in and there's that sub sitting there and then there's the big strutter. Then ooh.
I know. I mean, I'm thinking too, you still get to watch it.
Yes.
Watch it come in and hear it and do all this stuff and film it if you're filming, if you're doing that. But not pulling the trigger on that one, shooting the one next to him.
Yeah.
I bet he tastes just as good, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Jake or not, he's lead's flying.
And you know what? The thing about the jakes and the bearded hens is they're a lot easier carrying out of the woods. I'll tell you that.
little lighter. Just a little lighter. Yeah.
It's and
especially bringing them up like a cliff, the side of a ravine.
We aren't even going
I was gonna
there.
say, I heard about a waterlogged bird. I think.
Yeah, and a waterlogged hunter too.
Not me. The only time that I truly wish that I had a camera running the entire time, and I should know better.
I'm so glad you didn't have your phone on you and bring out that camera.
You know,
I'm really surprised to learn you didn't.
So we might as well just tell the story now that we're sitting here. You know, would you like to tell it, or from my perspective, standing up on the hill? So
sorry if I wasn't supposed to bring this up.
No, it's fine. So before I went out to Salt Lake and before our the week of our banquet, I guess I had Wednesday. It was the only day I had to hunt because then I was leaving to go out to Salt Lake. So we go out Wednesday morning, and it's Tom, comes in. We actually had, do we have two of them? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the two of them came in from like 400 yards.
She did shoot the non-starter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. 200, two of them come in from like 400 yards. And so I don't realize, I don't know if, I'm sure Art was telling me, but I didn't realize that they were going to leave. Like they were to my left, not in the window opening. We were in a blind when we're filming usually. And he's like, you're going to have to shoot. I said, I can't shoot where they are right now because I'll shoot through the blind. I said, unless I stand up. He said, well, you're going to have to stand up. So I then like it's a done deal because they're going to see you, right? You're committed.
Yeah.
So I like stand up. I'm almost standing upright because I'm so short, but I do have to kind of hunch over a little bit. But I stand up, bring my
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, bring my gun up and shoot, and the turkey like hits the ground, and then he pops back up again.
Oh, that's the worst.
Takes off running, so I shoot him again. And he bobbles, and it's like he's gonna go down, but he's running downhill. It's downhill from where we are, and then he goes over a knoll. We can't see him anymore, and then so we, get up and go look for this bird, and kind of thinking he's just gonna be over the knoll, laying there, and he wasn't. So we keep walking, and we get to the edge of the woods, and so we're kind of looking for like a bird piled up somewhere. Mm-hmm. This other bird takes off, and we're thinking that was his friend, that was there. Mm-hmm. So we're looking, and Art kind of keeps heading downhill. I kind of start side hilling and kind of checking that direction. Art, whistles, and I'll go over, and he points. And here at the bottom of this steep ravine is some running water and a turkey on its back with its feet in the air.
Just taking a bath.
And like, so there he is. Like, okay, well, there's the turkey. Now we got to get him out of there. Mm-hmm. So I have to and we couldn't go straight down. It was too steep. There was no way we could go like from there. So I have to kind of go up the ravine, kind of work my way down eventually, get down to the bottom of the ravine, like crawl under a fallen tree. So, and really the only place to walk is like in the creek. There's this like little bit of running water, mostly mud. Get to the bird. Of course, then he starts flapping.
Oh, nice.
When I go up to him.
Yeah.
So now we're like, I'm covered in mud. Like my glasses, my clothes, like I'm covered in mud. Pick him up, flop him on the ground. And finally, he does stop flopping. And now I got to carry him, up out of that ravine.
Yeah.
So get up there. We're both like, I'm covered in mud. The turkey's muddy. Mm-hmm. I'm muddy. My glasses are speckled. Art, which I took off and put them away. And then we go to take pictures, and Art's like, it looks like you've got freckles. We've got to wash your face. And I'm like, it just is what it is.
You earned that one.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, so I don't get thrown
and
under
I was glad he was only
let's
like
hear,
20 pounds.
Yeah.
What was Art doing through all this when you were
So I don't get
doing
thrown
the
under the
recovery?
bus here.
I was gonna.
You're not. There's no bus.
So I'm. Oh yes, trust me, because
There's
you
no
walked
bus.
down there to get it, and they're going to be going, "What was Art doing? Why didn't he go get this for his lovely wife?"
That was
That
my,
was my
I shot
exact
it.
thought.
Yes. I know. So I'm like,
It's my bird.
I'm gonna go get this bird. Well, I've got a lot of back issues from when I broke my back and stuff. Michelle's like, with the way your back is, I don't need you going down there and hurting yourself and tripping on
she's trying to
something.
pull
And,
you out of the ditch.
right. Right.
Yes.
So trying to get me out of there along with the turkey. And it's a lot easier to haul a 21-pound turkey up that hill than grab a 265, 70-pound man and pull him out too, right? So I'm like, okay, you want to go? Well, as I'm up there trying to give directions, she's like...
He's trying to help
He's
from
trying to help
from
sure.
you know,
And
the
I'm
top
like,
of the ravine.
So she's going to step on his head, and I'm like, do not step on its head in the creek because he's gonna flop and bad things are gonna happen. I said, grab its legs, throw it up on. And the bank was steep, I understand, but throw it up on the bank, then do that. And she's like, it's gonna freaking spur me this and that. I'm like, just listen, don't yell at me down. I'm like, I'm not yelling at you, I'm trying to help you, right? So then this is where I wish I had my camera up, because then I could see it a mile away. She goes and steps on its head, that thing flops twice, out go her legs out from underneath her, and guess who's in the creek laying right next to the turkey? And at that point in time, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna head to the truck and I'm gonna go get the truck and I'll meet you at the top of this hill. And away I went. And, but yes, she is a very determined woman. She's very capable of doing that. She is.
And I got the turkey at the top of the hill.
She has drugged deer out. She has carried turkeys out. She is very capable of doing all that. And so when she says, this is what I'm doing, I've been married long enough that I understand this is what she's doing, and it's time for me to go get the truck. And that's exactly what I did.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I know. So, and just a word to the wise: if your bird ever ends up in the creek, don't step on it, because you're gonna go for a ride. Because everything's slippery down there. The rocks are slippery. But that was the best thing. The whole thing was that it didn't happen to me. Because 99% of the time, that's the shit that happens to me, right? And so it was kind of, not that it happened to her, but it was kind of good that it actually happened to somebody other than me. So, but yeah. So
the joys of turkey hunting. It's just the joys of turkey hunting. You never know what you're going to get yourself into.
It is, and so yeah. I mean, that's that turkey hunt went well. Actually, that was a weird hunt. We got out there, not a bird, not a gobble, nothing all morning. And it was getting close to 8:00. And I said, you know what? Because I knew she had to get to work because she's flying out and we were going to try to hunt that afternoon. I said, I'm going to call one more time if anything. I called, nothing. I turn around and start packing and we hear one gobble. And right after he gobbled, in comes this strutting Jake fan hen and beating up the decoys, and she was so cranky and ornery that she just so much noise, and so I just went back and forth with her the whole time and finally fired up these two gobblers, and they come literally like Michelle said, on a dead run for 400 yards.
That's awesome.
And then it was just done and away we went from there. So without all the stuff that the NWTF has done, getting back to that, since, the 70s when they first swapped out our grouse for the turkeys.
Yep.
And then, started our season here in 83. It's just, everything is growing and people, we've been spoiled.
Oh, 100%.
And that's, back to where we started with this, with, Michelle being concerned about what's going to happen to our numbers, my own personal. And, I take a ton of people out. I shoot one, maybe two birds, depending on the number of people I have a year. I used to be that guy, but I used to travel. I used to hunt Texas and Oklahoma and Nebraska,
and you were that guy
Kansas
in your 20s.
Right.
I think that's the thing. Like when people are new hunters,
yes,
and or young hunters,
right,
they're so excited and want to shoot everything that walks, as much as you can that's legal, whether it's deer or turkey or whatever, but then hopefully there's a point in time where somebody like matures in their woodsmanship and conservationism, and looks at a bigger picture.
Yeah, that's a proven thing, right? Where they kind of, it's an arch that you can follow through a hunter's age and career, is that they start off just trying to whack everything that's in front of them.
Yep.
And then it's kind of a trophy phase. And then you get to the point where you're actually, like you talking about taking new hunters and you guys taking new hunters out, where you're more excited by taking people out and having them experience the whole hunt.
Right.
100%.
That mentorship.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, it's so much fun to get out there and watch their reactions and stuff. And so, yeah, are we still killing 15, 20 birds a year? Absolutely. But it's on different properties all over the place, where some of these guys are going out there and they're like, okay, I'm going to take 6 or 7 friends, but then I'm going to shoot, 20 turkeys myself. Mm-hmm. And I've listened to some of these guys say, yeah, I bought 5 fifth season tags.
Yeah.
And I had, when these toms are starting to group up again.
Yeah.
And they say, I had 4 of them come in and I killed all 4 of them. And then they're the first ones to bitch next year when they say, well, I don't have any turkeys left. What's the NWTF doing for me?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, for you, not so much.
Right. And so that gets very frustrating to me. It's about passing it on, and you can't pass on something that's not there.
Correct.
So you have to protect that, and that's what the NWTF is doing, and that is where that money goes to. And these guys that do that, they go out and shoot. I'll put money on it that a lot of these guys that are out there shooting, 10, 15 birds a year, that they aren't going to an NWTF banquet.
I was just going to say, probably not on their local chapter helping out, if I had to guess.
They're not. And then when their hunting rights disappear, or when all the turkeys disappear, again, they're the first ones to complain about it and say, well, what's going on here? Why don't we have any turkeys left? What's Turkey Federation doing for us? Mm-hmm. Well, and then, I bought my license. Well, I don't care. You bought your license. That goes to the state of Wisconsin. That does not go to the NWTF.
Correct. Yep.
They're 2 separate entities, and it has nothing to do with it. Yeah. And so, how about instead of bitching about it, put your money where your mouth is and go out and support these organizations, whatever it is that you're hunting.
100%.
Get out from behind the keyboard and do something about it instead of whining about it.
Yeah, and honestly, me being a millennial, I'm going to throw that out there. There is, in my line of work, I'm always trying to find volunteers that want to help these chapters. And I will tell you, I've been doing this for 8 years now, and it has definitely gotten harder to find people that are willing to give up their time and put their effort into putting on a successful banquet for any kind of conservation organization. But I will say this, I do have hope for a younger generation of people that are coming up that are feeling like they are more community-minded and wanting to actually help. I've actually had quite a few chapters with some young, in their 20s. I've got a brand new one just started up in La Crosse that is made of mostly mid-20-year-old guys that are fired up actually about about helping and getting out.
That's awesome.
You find somebody my age, it's hard to find millennials that want to get out there and help. So it's definitely interesting to see kind of that progression. But I do have hope that there's some people coming up willing to do this.
And I think part of what's happening there, I believe, and it's not just regarding volunteers at banquets, but other just participation in other events that used to have big crowds and a lot of people and have really dwindled. Is I really think that you're talking about the group of guys up there being in their early to mid 20s. That's probably when we started this chapter here. And I think then you have a group of folks that then are get a little bit older and have families. And one thing that I think is very different now than it was 30 years ago, 25 and 30 years ago, is the amount of year-round sports.
Oh man.
And competitive sports at that young age. And these young families now, and people who maybe were volunteering, and I mean, I see it. I think this is what's happening with the EMTs and volunteer firemen too. They're all looking for help.
Yeah.
Is that we've now got this age of people that were previously had some time available to help with these things, are now running their children around across the state and across the nation,
upper Midwest,
year round. With their kids.
Oh, I think you are 100%.
You know, that's I think really changed things, and so I can see what you have are these young men who maybe don't have any kids yet, or if they do, they're really little, not yet in sports, and then you have folks that are our age with their kids that are gone, or even Rob. He said he'd be willing to help, but not until their son graduated high school. So there was this period of time. Where, you know, he and his wife weren't as available, you know, for our chapter because they were busy and they wanted to, you know, be available to go to all of his events, and rightly so, you know. But I think the constant, you know, year round and travel associated is very different than it was 25 and 30 years ago. Oh, yeah.
When I'm talking to some of my friends that have kids that are just a little bit older than mine, I've got a 6 and a 2-year-old. And so I've been like, wow, man, that's an interesting life that it's like every 2 or 3 weekends a month that they're at a hotel somewhere Friday through Sunday. It's like, I 100% understand how you might not have time to give a bunch extra to an organization.
So things are different. Things are different today.
They are. And I don't think that it's necessarily all time. Some of it's finances too, that they can't afford to
proud student loan payer here for the rest of my life. Yes, sir.
But not necessarily that, but with your kids and you're running them so much to all these things, that's where your money's going. When you said, you know, they're at motels 2, 3, you know, 2 days a weekend or whatever for months straight. Yeah. They say, well, okay, go dump $300 on a banquet for a night, or I got to spend $300 this weekend on a motel room.
Yep.
For my kids.
Yep.
And, you know, essentially, if you're a hunter, you also have to look at it as, yes, it's for your kids for the future. And that's what that money's for. It's not to go to a banquet and, I'm just going to a banquet tonight to have fun and win a gun, which you hope you do. The money that I have spent in 27 years at a banquet, I mean, just this year alone, and not won a gun. You know, you
might have 2 or 3 more.
We could all say that about Brett Raffle. I'm trying to think. There was
my house would be paid off.
Yes, sir.
Right?
You know, there was. I can't think of what gun it was. It was a shotgun, and not even a specific like model, but there was like a gun that I was like wanting to get for myself. I didn't have, you know, and, you know, not that I spent an exorbitant amount of money, but, you know, we'd go to like a deer and turkey expo or some other banquet, some event, and there'd be a gun, you know, a gun raffle, and I'd get some tickets hoping I'd win that, you know, get that gun that I wanted. I think it was an over under. You know, you could even at some point, if it gets, you know, to be a lot, you know, over a long period of time or several events, you could buy it outright.
Those are those Henry Golden boys when they first started getting popular. The amount of money that those guns made, conservation organizations, there was guys that spent thousands of dollars trying to win one.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, we appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing that, please.
It's going to a good cause.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I think what I could say, you know, like I certainly get, you know, the importance of being there with your kids and doing things with your kids. And I know that there's a lot of peer pressure associated from the parent side. Like I do know, because I've talked to friends, that there is a lot of pressure that, you're going to do that, right? You know, your kids, they're going to join this. So I get that, and that's all good. I guess, you know, hopefully in the meantime, like if you don't have the time or, you know, monies to attend banquets or events and, you know, or volunteer for organizations, you know, maybe you could even just, join and be a member.
100%.
Those are like $25, $30,
Right.
$35.
$35 for a regular membership to the National Wild Turkey Federation.
For a year, and you get a magazine, and you then join the numbers, because then when the Turkey Federation is speaking on behalf, they're speaking on behalf of the entire membership, and they can say, we have this many members.
Correct. We are shooting for 250,000 members nationwide this year, and that is a huge difference when we're going to Capitol Hill and pushing for stuff that does apply to hunters across the country. Every single member counts.
Yeah, to say we have 250,000 members.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. And so what do we have to do to get to that number? Where are we at?
We just got a report on Friday. I think we're at like 242,000. So we
All
are
right.
knocking
Getting
on
close.
the door of 250,000 members for the NWTF this year. Yeah.
All right.
So we are growing as an organization, and that is definitely really important. We're trying all kinds of new things too to get new members. So that's our regular membership, and then we also have our sponsor memberships. Which Art, you were a sponsor member this year, so thank you for doing that.
I'm a sponsor every year, man. I'm a sponsor every year, hoping to win the sponsor gun, and I never win the sponsor gun.
Thank you for your contribution.
Yep, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Every time Tyler's like, "Oh, here comes that sucker again." But how, if not going to a banquet, things like that, how do you sign up to become a member?
If you go to nwtf.org, you can find everything that you need to know about the NWTF. Actually, our membership, different programs that we have running, scholarship information, everything is actually on the website there. Yep.
So, and when you join on the website, are you just joining the big organization, or is there a way? Are you joining? Is there a way to like join your local chapter or somehow support your local chapter at the same time?
On the website, there actually is. If you want to get involved locally, there's a tab there as well, where if you are like in southern Wisconsin, say, and you say, hey, I'm in southern Wisconsin and I'd like to help out on a local chapter, I will actually get an email directly saying, hey, this person's reaching out looking to help. And please, if anybody is in anywhere listening to this, we are always looking for more help. Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice.
One of the other ones, before I ask about a few of the other projects quick, is the other one you don't have to, he said earlier that they had a bunch of 20-year-olds, starting this new chapter. I was in my 20s when I started this, so I wish I was still there. And, as these different organizations or different chapters start growing, you don't necessarily have to be a group of young men or a mixed group. This year, one of the coolest ones from the state of Wisconsin was a all-female chapter, correct?
I was hoping you were, the Rock Valley Bearded Hens. They were a female-dominated chapter, brand new event down in that Beloit area. Their very first banquet, they had 131 people attending their banquets. That is one of the better attended banquets that I had this entire spring. And yes, it is a very well organized, and they did an amazing job. Like, their first banquet was right up there with some of the best first banquets I've ever had a group put on. Yeah.
Nice.
So are you trying to tell me that we're not organized? That as men we're not organized?
I will neither confirm nor deny that women are way more organized than a banquet ran by a bunch of guys, yes.
Ouch. That one might have hurt just a little.
Still great banquets, though. Great banquets.
But, so back to the, not necessarily super fun, but you're talking about all the new turkey research programs going on out there. And are they predator studies? Are they strictly habitat studies? What, kind of fill us in a little bit more on what those projects really are. Because I know we've got one going on here because I had talked to them about, unfortunately, it didn't end up down in my valley where we were at. Otherwise, we were going to look at trapping and taking turkeys and collaring them and stuff.
Yeah.
And because we did that, I was part of the deer program and did that for the deer program, collared them and tagged them and stuff back when we were doing all that. And because I'm such a turkey freak, I would have loved to seen this so I could see some of the research on it too. I run a ton of trail cameras. I run all the stuff. So and like I said, I know Michael, I know some other guys. So I do a ton of my own research per se of how far turkeys travel and how far, because they have certain routes, they have certain things they do, but what kind of studies are you guys really getting in depth with that, or what's going on?
The one you're speaking to there is a really cool project that the state chapter got way behind, behind supporting it, I guess is what I'm trying to say there. We've given quite a few dollars to it, and they were trapping turkeys. And then what they're trying to figure out is if they can utilize the Snapshot Wisconsin program, which if you don't know what that is the trail cameras that the DNR gives out to landowners across the state. And I think their one requirement is to send in the photos that trail camera takes. And so to do a normal study of like turkey movement, it's very expensive. To go out there and net them and put the GPS backpacks on them and track them all over the place for months and years on end. What they're trying to figure out is that area had a bunch of those Snapshot Wisconsin cameras in it. And can we rely on the Snapshot Wisconsin cameras to actually track the movement of these turkeys across an area as accurately as the GPS tagged birds, because that could be a gigantic cost savings when it comes to managing a population of turkeys across the state of Wisconsin. If we can already pull from this data set of pictures that they're already paid for, as opposed to sending out teams of people to trap and transfer or trap and tag and do all of that physical labor to figure out what's going on with those movements. That's like the ballpark gist of what that program is. And we actually had at our state convention this last winter, one of the gentlemen that is the head of the turkey program that is over that study, one of the really cool ones actually, off of the GPS data, is they had a hen do a 13-mile walkabout. And they had her in this one area, and then one day she just decided to walk 13 miles basically straight away from the area that she had been living in. She turned around, walked 13 miles back over, I think it was a week or two, and then right back into her home range.
I wonder what she was doing.
Right.
That's like crazy. Like, just one day, I think I shall go for a walk.
Yes.
It's a lot of walking, yeah.
It is. But the cooler thing that I'm going to add to that, because, again, I'm a turkey geek, so I know all about that study. And the coolest thing of that study is she actually took her poults.
Oh, that's right, yes.
On that walkabout. And she took them through swamps. I mean, through like where they would have to swim to get from
They went on a family
point.
vacation.
Yeah, and then they were in hills. I mean, it was absolutely insane looking at where she took those poults and brought every single one of them back home.
Yes.
Alive, which
is amazing because the mortality level
absolutely
for young turkeys is very high.
And so yes, I saw that, and that was one of the coolest things.
I have to go look more, but I have to go look that up. That does sound fun. So that's really cool. I am a Snapshot Wisconsin volunteer.
Nice.
Where I go through the pictures and then say what's on it.
Okay.
You know, so I've been doing that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Off and on for a few years, and it's really fun. You just sit and I'll log in, pull up pictures, and they're from all over the state. You never know what you're going to get. So a lot of times it's like the same old. A lot of deer, a lot of small game. Too. So you're kind of like, yep. You say what it is, and maybe there's nothing.
Yeah.
You look really hard, and there's nothing, and then I'll be like, ooh, elk.
That's awesome.
And then you'll be back to the same old. Then there's turkeys,
or something.
Turkeys, and then they'll be like, oh, bear, where was that at? I can look and see what county it is.
That's so cool.
There's like an information thing where you can see the county. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that they're looking at that.
And then they're actually I think it's a part of that same study. They're putting cameras on nesting sites. And one of them that was actually really interesting that they did as well is they had a hen get swooped by a hawk. I think twice, and she actually abandoned her nest. Like she left, came back in the middle of the night to kind of check that area out one more time, and then she never came back to that nest site again. So it's also seeing kind of how these hens are interacting with predators on the landscape as well. So, yeah, there's a ton of cool stuff out there.
I actually had a camera on a nest last year on one of my properties to see what would happen. And in the middle of the night, because some people know this and they don't, but I mean, the hens leave the nest on and off throughout the day to feed and do their thing. But at night, especially cold nights, they don't roost in the trees. They'll sit on that nest all night. And actually got a coyote come in and pick her off the nest.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. Picked her right off the nest. And
that's crazy.
That's when I wish I would have been sitting there with my 223 and got that whole deal done, right?
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, they're so cool. And especially today, I think programs like this need to be done and are huge, because it's not only... you listen to some people in certain areas say, well, there's a big decline in the turkeys. Other areas, throughout the state, they're doing well. Fortunate because of who I work with and do a lot of things, we're doing pretty well, because
yes, we are. Yeah.
I understand, especially like on the lands that I lease and hunt, burning is essential in certain areas for it. So we do certain burns. We do... different habitat management for turkeys than we do for deer. We also trap a lot of raccoons. Possums, I know we need to get rid of, but I think they're
Art
so
really
cute.
likes possums.
They're adorable.
I know I have a really hard time whacking them, but that's once in a while I have to. And trash pandas, raccoons, I got no problems getting rid of them. They're whatever. And
they're cuter than possums. So that's just...
I don't know.
You're weird.
I don't think so.
You're weird.
And so, you look at that, and there's so many things that make that population strive, and it's the trapping, the burning, the habitat. Again, with the springs, is it too wet? Is it too cold? So there's so many things. So I think those studies have to be done, and hopefully they find through those studies, which they will, what their travel routes are, because some people say, well, yeah, I've got 20 birds on my property. I can shoot, 10 of them and I'll be okay. But where are those other 10 birds traveling through?
Yeah.
Are they all going to get shot by other people a mile away, 2 miles away? Yeah. How is that going to work? And so hopefully that kind of, put some light on it, and with that they can get that information out to everybody, and really keep what we have going, because I mean, Wisconsin is one of the best turkey states in the nation now.
Yeah.
What a great success story, conservation
100%.
Success story, right?
And if I may, this is actually the 50th anniversary of the wild turkey being successfully reintroduced into the state of Wisconsin. On May 17th, in Madison on Bascom Hill.
Oh, this is awesome. I saw this online, and I had to share it with my UW alum daughter.
Nice.
I'm like, look what they're doing on Bascom Hill.
Right out your back door, Brad.
So, if you guys have ever seen it, where they put pink flamingos on Bascom Hill down there on UW Madison, we are going to flock the lawn, and it's a free event, and we want everybody across the state to bring decoys down to Madison May 17th. It's a Sunday, and bring your decoys, and we're going to fill that lawn with turkey decoys as part of a celebration of 50 years of the wild turkey being reintroduced into Wisconsin. And then after that, we're having a little get together with a bunch of presentations at the Union South Hall, which is just across the street. It's a free event again. We just want you to register if you do show up. And we're going to actually have some of the guys that were there as a part of that original flock release. There's going to be speakers from the DNR. NWTF has some people coming in. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel will be there. Of course, we're going to have some raffles with some really nice prizes. We are, of course, we have to. Yep, have to. But yeah, it's going to be a really cool day to celebrate the wild turkey in the state of Wisconsin.
How fun is that?
Yeah, that's so cool. So, you're looking 1976. You want to talk about success and how fast the success went, though.
Yeah.
Because 1976, and when you have your first season in 1983, that's absolutely crazy, And then people don't realize, because I was fortunate, I was one of the first ones in the state to call in a turkey for someone, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Which would have been up Vernon County area.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, not to age myself.
I was gonna say, that
I was
just means
just
you're
careful
old
there,
enough
buddy.
to have
Doing
been
this
there.
long
Yeah.
right? But, you know, you look at how fast that grew, because I remember, you know, it was 3 seasons and trying to draw a tag was tough. In those 3 seasons, you know, you had until noon was all, and they were 5-day seasons. And then, you know, pretty soon they went to 6-week seasons, but they were still only 5 days. And then they went
half days probably.
Yep, and still
Yeah,
half
it
days.
was really gradual to get to where we're
Then it went to
at.
full days, and then it went to 7 days a week, and so it's just, you know, I've been here to watch all these transitions from day one, which has been pretty cool. I know another one from town here would have been, you know, like he's retired from the DNR, but Tom Howard, he was, you know, part of the introduction program and trying to help things around here. And it was cool because, you know, those who know my story, it was, I couldn't hunt. I could hunt, but you couldn't draw tags and stuff. So, and even before we started here in Wisconsin, I had started, you know, I had tags, or not tags, but I could call. And so I was traveling with people calling for them.
Oh, that's awesome.
In different places. And then here the word got around. So, of course, Dad's like, yeah, I mean, if you want to get him out of
His
my
dad's
frickin'
pimping him
house.
out at age 13 to go call
Oh,
turkeys
I did
for
not
people.
know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
You
Yeah.
know, so I'm
So cool.
I'm traveling all over with people because
So
they're like,
that's what happened to
I
him.
was
It
gonna say,
is.
that actually
Yeah.
explains a lot, doesn't it?
they're like, hey, Bill, I hear this kid can call turkeys. And he's like, yeah, he's pretty good at it. Good. Can I take him with me? And, you know, Dad's like, oh, I can get rid of this kid for a little while. He's out of here. So,
You were
yeah,
paid in like soda pop or what?
pretty much.
Probably.
You know, it was just fun. And you know, like one of my high school teachers, he drew a tag and he's like, Art, I don't know the first thing about this, you know, and I've got him out behind my house, but I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, okay, yeah. And went out there and did my thing. It didn't help my grades any, but, you know, called in a bird and he shot a turkey. And he was my wrestling coach too. So I knew no matter what, I was still going to pass. Might not have been very much.
Right.
C's get degrees. Yep, yep.
But yeah, so I've been doing it a long time, and that's why I think these programs are so cool that they're doing now, is because they have to understand, and I don't believe a lot of people understand the turkey. They understand well enough to go out, hunt it, kill it, say I've got them on my property, but I don't think that they truly understand how a bird moves in the spring, how it moves in the summer, and its fall patterns. Because everything changes due to food sources, due to breeding, due to, you know, just a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And these studies will show that. And with that, you know, that brings hopefully more responsibility back to the hunter to understand, man, we can only kill so many.
Yeah.
Or now I understand that we can kill more. You know, so... And that's what it truly is. And that's where the money's going. That's what this whole thing is. We need to fund this so we have these things, so we have these down the road for the future generations.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more of a fine-tuned look at managing turkeys, because we've always done conservation work on public lands. You know, we've always done the burnings and the cuttings and plantings to make things better for the turkey. But yeah, I think you're hitting on a very important part there with like, yeah, but let's actually try to understand what is happening with these things.
The whole year. And it, and I mean,
yeah.
that's, you know, we're talking about turkeys today, but you know, that same approach is happening, and it's a good thing it is, to, you know, songbirds, many of which are in decline, as well as, you know, any other species, is understanding, the needs, for habitat and preferred habitats for the male of the species, the females of the species, which often get overlooked largely because they're not as colorful and they're not as noisy. So they're not as easy to find.
I'm
not talking about humans.
I was going to say, it also tracks. It also tracks there.
But, you know, they've been overlooked in a lot of
Yeah.
research because
100%.
it's
100%.
it's easy to find the male turkeys. They're the ones gobbling their heads off.
Yep.
And it's the male songbirds that do the singing.
Yep.
But so to understand the males and females of the species and what habitat they need during different times of the year, breeding season, rearing young, in the rest of the year, because their needs change. And that's where you can really impact and have meaningful, conservation by supporting things that help that animal through the whole year.
Yeah.
And their whole lifespan.
Yep. And, just a little plug for us. Anytime that you're improving habitat for the turkey, you're usually improving it for every animal that is on the landscape.
Absolutely.
So everybody benefits
Yes.
when we have better habitat. So
Definitely.
100%.
The only thing I have to say to that is maybe that is why we're now seeing so many bearded hens, strutting hens, and hens trying to gobble, is because they're trying to become more noticed.
Oh, you think?
Look at us.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at us.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
all these men are getting looked at. Now, why aren't we?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely good things happening in turkey research, and really, come a long way. And it sounds like what's happening now is, just going to make it even better.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, one last thing, if I can, is our Roots to Roost initiative. That it was a brand new thing that we just came out with this last year. So kind of speaking along that habitat improvement line, we've always had a lot to offer for public lands, because that is where we do a vast majority of our work. But this Roots to Roost initiative is a look at the upper Midwest. And again, kind of a finer scope of like, what do turkeys need in the upper Midwest? And a part of that will be about 90% of the land up here is privately owned. Only 10% is actually public. So if we were to do improvements on every acre that existed, we could still only impact about 10% of the land. So we have recognized that we need to start working with private landowners more and providing them with resources. So a big thing with the Roots to Roost initiative will be educational training modules on the Roots to Roost website for landowners to start actually going out and saying, hey, if I own 40 acres, like, what does a turkey actually need on my 40 acres? And then it'll eventually be built out to, there's a lot of federal dollars and state dollars out there to help offset the costs of doing stuff on your own land, because it is extraordinarily expensive to do that. But right now it's very complicated and confusing to try to figure out where that information is on who can actually help me. And so that'll be a big module training part of that will be, hey, I'm a landowner in Wisconsin. What programs are available to help me make my habitat that I have on my land better for turkeys as well? So, yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. And that's all available now, or it's in phases?
It's in phases.
Okay.
So the Roots to Roost website is up, and it kind of goes over what that will be. This summer, they're planning on launching that first phase of basic turkey biology and kind of like just a what is a turkey and what does it want to do. And then next year, that's when they're really going to start releasing modules on everything from, like I said, brush management to burning. A big thing that we're trying to get behind actually is fire councils, co-ops, where a bunch of private landowners can get together and start doing burns on each other's lands. The NWTF is actually looking at inquiring on insurance as well, so that if somebody gets a little carried away, they're not going to be liable. So again, we do have some really cool things in the works to help support those private landowners in the upper Midwest as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All kinds of good stuff.
Very cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
And I think there's links and information about probably just about or all of the different topics you talked about on the website.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, if you go to NWTF.org, you can find a lot. If you want to come to a banquet, NWTF.org/events, that actually will have everything that's in the state of Wisconsin or just in your local area. We do actually have a new younger person running our state Facebook page, so we're trying to grow that as well. So if anybody wants to, search out NWTF Wisconsin and follow our state page as well.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. lots of good stuff happening for the wild turkey and at National Wild Turkey Federation. Go to NWTF.org to get all the information you might possibly need and own the season.
Follow Own the Season Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for listening.
Check back weekly for new episodes.